Hey everybody, Mandy Ray of Ecstatic Astrology here for the full moon update. It's a full moon in Virgo. It is at 6:40 a.m. Tuesday, March 7th, Central US time. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, so check your local time and date. Either way, it's about 12 hours from when I'm recording this and probably less from when you're watching it. So here we go. Full moon in Virgo. Virgo is about the details. But sometimes details, there can be so many of them. I like to think of Virgo as dust or grains of sand, which when you look at each one, yes, you can really get very close up with sand in your hand and look at it and see, oh wow, it's little tiny crystals, but there's so many of them. Virgo doesn't always come out like that, but sometimes it does. And this particular time, I think that's more of the feeling that there is just a lot to think about, a lot to organize, a lot of details to take care of, a lot of which way do I go? I'm not sure. This is what I want to do. I don't know how to implement it. All of those feelings can come up during this full moon in Virgo. We want to get organized. We want to have our lists. We want to check things off the list. We want to be able to prune our plants, but it's almost not time yet, even though it is time. That's even sort of reflected in the weather where I'm at. It's very warm, things are blooming, and I want to cut my plants back, the old dead leaves. That's, I call Virgos the pruners of the zodiac because they can see what needs to be done. Does this need to be cut away? Does this need to be cut back to flourish? And even though it feels like that's what we want to do, it's not time to move on it yet, which is frustrating. And even in the southeastern US, it's hot, things are blooming, but we may get another freeze. And you're really not supposed to cut plants back until after the last freeze. And so, although all these things are blooming and there's dead sticks and leaves everywhere, and I want to cut it back, it is just not time. So, what do we do with this? Let me show you the chart. And by the way, I'm embodying Virgo today. I don't have makeup on. My hair's wild. I didn't even come to you guys for the new moon in Pisces. Apologies for that. It's just been a really heavy time. And, you know, when you have moments like that, sometimes you have to just take care of yourself and take life for what it is. And I think that is really what's going on right now. It's like, okay, taking it moment by moment, even if we don't know exactly how we're going to get to a place, just put one foot in front of the other and do it the best way you can. And I think that's full moon in Virgo. So let's just go ahead and look at it here. All right. So this is the picture of the chart for the full moon in Virgo. Adjust my little chart settings here. Okay. So full moon, there's the sun, there's the moon, they're opposite. The sun is at 16 degrees of Pisces, the moon is at 16 degrees of Virgo. A full moon is a culmination, and that is what we are experiencing at this full moon, a culmination of what? Well, how to do things, how to go about it. That's Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is how we think, how we communicate, how we take in ideas, how we process data. And with Virgo, that takes on a very, because it's an earth sign, literal, reality-based way of doing things. So making lists, organizing, getting rid of things, cutting back the dead leaves. Very Virgo. Let's get down to brass tacks and figure out how we're going to do this. Virgo really wants to figure out how to implement things. So it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in Pisces. Now, what is Pisces? Pisces is mutable water. If Virgo is dust, if Virgo over here is dust and sand and the details and how we take care of things, Pisces is fog. Pisces is, I can't really see what's going on. So maybe I'll trust. Maybe I'll sit here and imagine and wait. It can be mysticism and spirituality. Pisces can be. And I do think that there is definitely that connotation to anything going on in Pisces. But when Mercury is in Pisces, it gets kind of lost. Some people want to get lost, but with a full moon in Virgo, that's uncomfortable. I don't really want to get lost when I'm trying to get things done. I don't really want to not know if there's going to be another freeze if I want to cut my plants back. Okay. So we have the ruler of the full moon in a sign that is, it doesn't operate at its best or at the way it truly desires to operate. And one way we can use that is to, okay, let's just do thought experiments. Let's imagine, let's create, let's meditate. And I do think that kind of stuff will be important during this time. You know, we'll want to be maybe doing our taxes, but sometimes it feels good just to go outside and stare at a plant. Okay, that brings me to what is the ruler of Mercury right now. So I like to do this. I like to follow the rulers and see what condition these things are in. Jupiter's in Aries. Jupiter likes Aries, sure. Aries is a fire sign. Jupiter has fire associations with, it's also rules Sagittarius. So in Aries, it's taking action. It's wanting to get things done. It's meeting Chiron. Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And this is I think a point we need to explore during this full moon, because Chiron can be a sensitive place in our charts. It is pain. It is where we have wounding and how we heal it, the awareness that we need to heal it. Jupiter is truth and exploration, so it might reveal the truth of a situation. We do have Venus nearby. Both of these are traditionally benefic planets. They bring benefit on either side of Chiron. I like that. I mean, it kind of gives Chiron this wound a cushion, but I do think it's still maybe sensitive. Jupiter expands anything it touches. So imagine, you know, an expansion of a place where we're sensitive. In Aries, this is like how to be ourselves. Also, what direction we're going, what we're fighting for. The warrior is experiencing a hesitation almost. And that is further explained by Mars in Gemini, which rules Aries. Okay, so follow me here. I'm just trying to give you a little lesson. Okay, here's Mars. Mars is the ruler of Aries. How did I get to Aries? Because Aries is the ruler, Jupiter, shit, I'm confusing myself, is the ruler of Pisces, where Mercury is. Mercury in Pisces is ruling the Virgo full moon. So this is how we get there. Okay, now we're at Mars. Excuse me. I'm doing my best here. Mars and Gemini. This is what Jupiter's looking to. Chiron is looking to it. Venus is looking to it. How do we take action? Mars, you're our ruler. Give us some direction. Well, Mars has already been in this area. This is its third time here. It's still not out of shadow. And that means it's still retracing its steps from the retrograde. It will be out of its shadow later in March. But for now, it went back home to get its keys and it still hasn't even made it past the furthest point it made when it turned around. Okay. Seeing the same stuff, still taking in the information, still doing the research project. That's what I called Mars retrograde in Gemini. And we can connect something very important here. And that is at the new moon in Virgo 6 months ago, Mars was in Gemini. Mars has been in Gemini that long, since August of 2022. Okay, so what we have here is Mars still trying to figure out this area of the chart. Well, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Haha, back to Mercury and Pisces. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. I haven't gotten it yet. I've been researching and I still don't get it. I still don't get it. I still don't know which direction to go. Maybe I think I know where I want to go. I think I know who I am. Not totally sure, feeling a little sensitive about it. But I really want to act on something. I just don't know exactly what. I haven't gotten the message, which brings me to, well, first of all, that's how this full moon might feel. It brings me to the fact that Saturn, right here at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Aquarius, is about to move into Pisces. Saturn moves into Pisces 1 hour, actually just a little less than 1 hour after this full moon at 7:35 a.m. Central US time. This full moon's at 6:40 a.m. Central US time. Whoa, that is a huge cosmic change at a full moon. This puts a huge exclamation point on this ingress, which is what we call when Saturn moves from, or any planet moves from one sign into another. It ingresses. So it ingresses Pisces 1 hour after the full moon. Saturn is the planet of rules and structure. Saturn lays the tracks. Typically, it takes around 30-ish years, usually a little less than 30 years to go around the zodiac. It was last in Pisces 93, 94, 95, 96, almost 4 years because it had a retrograde cycle in there. It went back into Aquarius. It won't do that this time, by the way. So we have a major change of the planet of structure moving into the sign Pisces, where Mercury is, where the sun is, where Neptune is, the sign of maybe imagination, lack of boundaries, limitlessness. So I don't want to say Pisces is without boundaries in a way that's like, like a cell definitely needs a boundary. But when it comes to limitless reality, permutations upon permutations, is there a limit? It's not bad. You're just bringing the planet Saturn that likes limits into a sign that doesn't have any. So it's harder for Saturn to build that structure. Things dissolve in Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Pisces is endings sometimes. Pisces is retreat, reflection. It's spirituality, but also subconscious. It's your dreams. It's the muses. It is really wonderful music. That is Pisces. It's beautiful poetry. My friend Mallory Hasty is doing an article on a poet with Saturn in Pisces. And she's doing a video on it. I'll put that link in the comments because she's got some great examples of what Saturn in Pisces art is like. Especially poetry. It's beautiful. So we have some good things because it brings form to the imagination and we can pull that into reality. You can do that with Aquarius. Aquarius is innovation and the future, sure. But Saturn ultimately rules Aquarius and it can kind of feel like cold and dry with Aquarius. It's an air sign. With Pisces, it is moist. There is a fertile sort of signature with Pisces, with it being water. So Saturn moving in there has these really good connotations, but also delusion, because the things that ground us maybe don't anymore. And this is not a hard and fast rule for everyone. First of all, it depends on what's going on in your chart. Second of all, it depends on your own choices. That's free will, and I do believe that plays a part in it. And third of all, it can be both. It can be one or the other. Astrology is, there's a coin and there's two sides to it, right? So in Pisces, we can bring imagination into reality and build something that was previously formless, but also our typical structures could become dissolved, could be the end of something we were working with, that we were working on. It could be a restructuring of whatever area Saturn's moving into for you. So this full moon has this hanging as a very looming sort of shadow. And it's not bad when I say shadow, but I mean, Pisces can kind of take on that liminal quality. What is there in the fog? We have to figure that out. And so having Saturn move into Pisces as well, right after this full moon may be the wake up call that says we have to figure this out. But it's like, not yet, not yet, not yet, soon. Okay, so there's that dynamic. And then also Uranus and Taurus is trine the moon. Uranus is change, upheaval, innovation. It is flip the script. We're doing this different. Could be revolution. Uranus and Taurus is a change in our values, change in what makes us comfortable. We're very aware that change is happening during this full moon. A trine is supportive. So there is this sense that, yes, we figure out, we don't know what we're doing. We do know things are changing. Maybe with that in mind, you could be kind to yourself and not do the Virgo anxiety thing, do the Virgo, I'm just going to go put my hands in the dirt thing. I'm going to, take care of what I can take care of. So let me just say the aspects here are that Mars is not exactly square to this full moon, but it's pretty close. It's within 5 degrees of a square. A T-square is what that's called. So that lends itself to some anxiety anyway. Mars square the sun is a need to take action, especially on these topics that may not be totally clear. Mutable signs are notorious for being like squirrel. I know I have tons of mutable stuff in my chart. So this full moon square Mars can have the ability to bring up frustrations and anxiety. And then the moon square Mars, that is the emotional aspect of it. So you have the life force aspect of it, then you have the emotional aspect of it, and we still have something we need to do. I think that is implicated in really the rest of this week, and probably a little longer. I'll go over that because Mars is not out of its shadow yet. Mars has not traversed new territory since September. And Mars has even longer been in Gemini, a full sign since August, the end of August of 2022. It didn't even go direct until January of 2023. We are just now to March. It has these qualities of taking a long time, but not taking any time at all. It's so weird. And this reality may get a little weirder. It's very circus-like, very liquid reality. I think I said that about maybe 2021. I can't remember. But now that I'm getting closer to 2023, I'm like, no, this may be actual liquid reality. Saturn moving into Pisces, Mars still in Gemini after going retrograde. It's square to it. It's just very wavy and changeable. So another thing is that the sun still is moving towards this square to Mars, and it will. And that'll be exact later on, like I said. The moon will immediately square Mars, probably, I want to say like 10 hours after the full moon. So we get a first initial square to Mars, like boom, right there, real fast. Let me see what time that happens. I do have it at 0 Aries. Very good. Oh, 3:40 p.m. Shoot. I was almost right. But the moon squares Mars right after the full moon. Saturn's in Pisces now. Things just get kind of wobbly and strange. So what can we do with it? I think what we can do with it is continue to understand that things are not what they seem right this moment, that there's still something to be revealed. And I do believe that. There's several reasons why I believe that, but this is just a moment that we become aware that, yes, we see that there are things we need to work on, things we need to do, but we can only work on what we absolutely can do right in front of us. And then the other thing is Mars still has to square Neptune. Again, another almost delusional aspect, lack of clarity. Now, this aspect this may be the moment we learn the truth, but that's still to come. So, especially at this full moon, if you're feeling nervous energy, go work it out somehow. I don't have it here with me. I've been doing things like researching all kinds of stuff. I do that anyway, but it's been really bad lately. Like this is researching, reading the news, anything that I can learn has been a big deal. So like I've been reading the Hellenistic astrology, like flipping through it, just looking at things and, really waiting for that thing to strike, waiting for Uranus to go, aha, this is it. So we may get a piece of that at this full moon, but I still think allow yourself to do whatever is coming naturally to you that is also moving you forward rather than force something right this moment. So, yeah, Saturn moving into Pisces, full moon in Virgo, big deal. Trying to run, it's like, ooh, so many things. I might go forward in time because I do want to get to the Mars square Neptune. So we're just going to go day by day and see what happens here. Maybe we'll go on the moon squares Mars at 3:40 p.m. on Tuesday, March 7th. And don't forget, I will do a rising sign stuff separately. So check the video for that. So Wednesday, the moon moves into Libra. That's going to be interesting because that makes Venus the ruler, still answering to Mars, still answering to Mercury in Pisces. So, although the energy is a little more balanced, I think it still has this like, ooh, we're still trying to figure this out. This may have to do with relationships. Moon in Libra is always about balance, fairness, justice, relationships, how you appear to others, how much you give in a relationship. Every month, the moon goes through Libra, and we check this spot out in our psyche. The thing about this moon in Libra is Venus is in Aries, which is very independent, very, I'm going to just go my own way and do my own thing. And that thing right now is figuring out what I need to be doing, where I want to go. So we're still very almost like self-focused. The moon in Libra may be like hey, pay attention to this part of your life, relationships. But it is nice being ruled by Venus, I think. We'll see. Okay. I'm just looking because it's going to oppose. It's going to oppose Jupiter Thursday, March 9th. Something to think about. That makes emotions really big. Jupiter expands. This could be a kind of high frustration time, so just keep that in mind. But things are a lot different, right? There's still a lot different. Saturn's in Pisces now. It could be a little confusing, not gonna lie. It's just such a strange liquid like time. Let's see here. It'll oppose Venus later on. Moon opposite Venus. Again, this just could be a time when you're dealing with loved ones or an issue in the way someone sees you, how to balance things. The moon does trine Mars as it opposes Venus, which is kind of cool. I look at this as a good thing. So Friday, March 10th, maybe we'll get some nod to maybe someone says something to us that makes us think differently. We're like, oh, okay, maybe this is something I need to put in my back pocket for which direction I want to go. All right, so we got the moon moving into Scorpio, which is kind of, that's Friday night, March 10th. And why I say is because the moon in Scorpio just goes really deep into how we share ourselves with others, power dynamics. That's a Scorpio thing. What else can I say? control issues. And the South Node, the eclipse point is there. So Friday night may be a little internal, where we want to get to the root of things in ourselves. Let's see here. Just looking at what it might. At least it trines. Let me say this. It does trine Saturn right off the bat. I'm kind of interested in that because I am. Is this going to feel like a moment we have a little direction based on something that goes on in us with the way we have boundaries, with the way we are letting go of narratives that we felt disempowered? Perhaps this could be a little bit of a foundational ping Friday night. Maybe a feeling like things are a little more together. Jupiter hits Chiron exactly coming up on that weekend. So be aware this could bring up some wounding issues, but also some healing. So that's nice. It's not a bad thing. Okay. Saturday. What's Saturday, March 11th going to be like? Well, it's my partner Warren's birthday. It's his solar return. So he's going to have the moon in Scorpio. Guess what? I am a Scorpio, so it's okay. I think the most major thing it's going to be doing is opposing Uranus, but also trining Mercury at the same time. It's very interesting. Almost missed that. Mercury is sextile Uranus going in Saturday, March 11th. Yeah. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so this makes a kite, and it's with Pallas Athena. What is Pallas Athena, Mandy? Pallas Athena is an asteroid that sees patterns and things. And I'm just noticing this kite that happens, I want to say around midday and later on Saturday, March 11th. This may be a moment where we do understand something. And it is pointing at Uranus and Taurus, what has to change. So the moon's trine Mercury, that makes our emotions and our thoughts come together. It's opposite Uranus. Uranus is change. It is trine Pallas Athena patterns, which is in Cancer, by the way. So there is something about nurturing, about moving emotion that we need to do, maybe about family. Home is a Cancerian topic. It just depends on where this is at in your chart. But this is a good moment to kind of mark down to pay attention. What's going on Saturday night, March 11th? What piece of the puzzle is coming in here? And this is when it starts to get really interesting. And that is because Sunday, March 12th, Mars hits the 24th degree. It's square Neptune at this point. Definitely square Neptune. Moon is trining Neptune at this time. So this is where I think we start the big Mars square that's going to last for about 3 or 4 days. And it starts here. So the first thing that we encounter is Mars is, okay, I want to figure this out, Mars and Gemini. Which way am I going? What am I doing with this area of my life? And I will point that out in your rising sign videos. Neptune and Pisces, this is the area that I'm dreaming, that I am feeling into spiritually, that maybe it's like my intuition is telling me this, but my ego is telling me this. And how do I make the two work? Okay. So this is where it gets a little bit like heightened, like I got to make this work. We have a Venus sextile to Mars. Nice. I think that's great. Why is that great? Because Venus is helpful. I think that tunes us into, this is a part of that direction. Definitely accepting ourselves, making sure we're taken care of. I mean, Venus and Aries, it's very self-focused, self-concerned, not self-centered, self-concerned, like looking at its own needs. I would say that this all does look fairly like, I don't want to say selfish. I want to say self-focused. There's a lot of look at what you need in this. Where you want to go, how you want to do things, what are your desires, figure it out, tap into the intuition to do it. But it could be a time when escapism is really high, when we just can't, it's too much, it's too overwhelming, can't figure it out, something to kind of put on your radar. March 13th, it's just building. And then March 13th, we have the third quarter square of the moon. So that means it's going to square Saturn first. This is a Monday. Ooh, boy, this is a Monday if I ever seen one. Moon and Sag, yay, that's pretty nice. Optimism, openness, adventure, truth. What do we want to do? Square Saturn in Pisces. Oh, we got to figure it out, don't we? And then it's not gonna do very much for a minute. So Monday may drag on a little bit. Yeah, I think it's going to. Yeah, Monday. Monday is a time where we see exactly what Saturn and Pisces, I think, for the first time. What is the work? Where is the work going to be? What is it going to consist of, at least for this early pass of Saturn in the first few degrees? Now, Tuesday, we get a little nod from Mercury. The moon will trine Mercury. That's pretty nice, especially considering Mars is still hanging out square Neptune. The sun's getting closer to Neptune. This angst is building, this need to break free of the fog, to figure it out, to get to the bottom of it. Really heightened March 14th, possibly at its most heightened. We have a little help also from the moon trining. Did I say it trined Mercury? It's square Mercury. Oh, gosh. I'm just not going to redo this video. Like, again, this is what works for you. I used to stop videos when I made any mistake, and it's just not sustainable for me. You know what else isn't sustainable? Cutting the video up. Very unsustainable. You know what else isn't? Content creation. It's weighing on me so heavily. How do I do this? How do I do this? Well, it's moments like these that might help you and tell you. Even though it is frustrating, there is this sense that we have the energy to do it. It's just a matter of tuning in to our spirits, not, yeah, we're not forcing it for the sake of forcing anymore. We have to force it for the sake of our own well-being, our own truth, I think, is what really this message is. So, but we're figuring it out. This is in the middle of it, and it won't stop. So the help we have is the trine to Jupiter, the trine to Venus, but it will oppose Mars. This is Tuesday night, so it could be a little bit of restless sleep. This is Tuesday, March 14th is I don't want to say it's the last stressful thing we'll have to deal with. That is absolutely not true. But this is a marker. This is a marker that says we are done with the Mars retrograde. We need to act on it in some way, possibly through the Sagittarius area, as it will square the sun at its third quarter square. This is heightened, maybe stress. Okay. There is. This is also maybe a moment we decide to move on it. We figure it out. But the quality of this is just very anxious. I think the one help is the moon trine Venus. And that happens right after the moon opposes Mars. The good thing is, though, this is going to be later at night. It may be restless sleep. I do feel like we will wake up the next day with something. I do, because Mars leaves its shadow. Where was its shadow? Let me see. When does Mars leave its shadow? How do I figure this out without? Well, I'll just remember March 15th was where I was. All right, let's see this. The shadow is 25:36. This is October 30th when Mars turned retrograde. It was at 25 degrees 36 minutes of Gemini. Now we go back to March 15th. Go by day here. And we'll see that 25, it goes out at 36, 25:36, which is Wednesday, March 15th by about 11:54 p.m. Okay, what is so special about this day? This day, the sun is with Neptune, exactly square to Mars. Luckily, the moon's in Capricorn. So I think there's a little more groundedness after a maybe day or two or four of confusion, angst, needing to get to the bottom of something. By the way, when I say those words, please don't think these days are just going to be shit. I don't want them to be. I'm not saying they will be. I don't know the future. Believe it or not, I don't know what other astrologers think when I say that, but I don't know the future. I can tell you the quality. That's just like James Spann, who's a local weatherman, if you're not from Birmingham, Alabama, misses things because all you can do is do your best to get the quality of these transits down and forecast and say, this is a setup for this to happen. Right. So we don't know exactly what those 4 days are going to bring. Do I think it'll be a little bit of lack of clarity? Yes. Do I think it'll be a little bit anxious? Yes. Do I think it'll be a moment that we push to figure it out? Yes, which is good. March 15th, the moon's in Capricorn, a little more grounded, a little less like, a little more like, okay, we can figure this out. It sextiles Saturn first, which is thank goodness. Like, what? That is gonna be so nice. Wednesday, March 15th, it sextiles Saturn early in the morning. The sun hits Neptune, squares Mars. Mars is out of its shadow. And then, finale, please. We get a Mercury Cazimi, which is Mercury with the sun, means in the heart of the sun. And a Cazimi is known as an audience with the king, or we get a message. A message. That's what we've been waiting for. Mars and Gemini has been waiting for this message for so long. What is it? Well, Thursday, March 16th, towards 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I'm giving you these numbers for a reason. We have, oh gosh, but before that, Venus moves into Taurus at the same time. Y'all, this is crazy. March 16th is going to be interesting, for lack of a better word. Okay, yeah, so it's like evening time, Central US time. The moon in Capricorn is sextile to the sun, Mercury, and Neptune. It is almost conjoining Pluto. Mars is square to this sun, Mercury, Neptune, Cazimi. Venus is moving into Taurus. To me, this looks like a moment where we go, this is the way. We get a message of some sort. Where that message comes from, I think it's coming out of the Pisces area, perhaps the Jupiter area, perhaps the Gemini area, heck, perhaps the Taurus area. Look at all this stuff. But it's a moment that we figure it out. The bubble pops. Thursday, March 16th. Could come through something someone says to you. Could come through a turn you make onto the wrong street. Could come from someone offering you something that you don't like. There is a moment around the end of this time frame that's going to enlighten us, and I'm looking forward to it. Don't know if it's going to be comfortable or not. Venus in its home sign is always nice. Thank goodness for that. We'll take it. Okay, so March 17th, Friday, 9 a.m., Mars is left its shadow. The wheel of time starts moving. But Mars is still square Mercury and the sun. Oh, the moon's in Aquarius where Saturn just left. And so I feel like this is poignant as well. There is a little bit of a, oh, that's what all that was about. Oh, that's what this has all been about. Really? That's what all this was about? That's what Friday, March 17th looks like. And then we get to make plans for the future and go, okay, all right. So let's do it this way. Saturday, March 18th. I need to look at what I'm doing that day. Is it St. Patrick's Day? I think I'm playing a gig. The moon will square Uranus, but it will sextile Jupiter. And this is important because the moon is no longer in Aquarius. Aquarius is no longer held back or has to work so hard because Saturn is gone. Saturn's in Pisces. So this Aquarian moon will be a little different. And sextile to Jupiter, which is now ruling Saturn, heck yeah. I think Saturday, March 18th, we're going to feel like something's working. And now we have a formulation for what we want for our future, how we want to go forward. Okay. So yeah, the moon sextile Jupiter and Chiron will be first thing kind of in the morning. So after that, and square Uranus. After that, it will trine Mars that overnight. Or is that going to be Sunday, March 19th morning? 6:54 a.m. All right, so there's a moon trine Mars, and I think clicks into place. I think action, the research project is about to be turned in during this time. And then Sunday, right after that, the moon hits Saturn. Oh, but this new area needs work, y'all. Yeah, because Saturn is work no matter where it is. It's work no matter where it is. So the work, the responsibility, the obstacles, they don't leave us. They just morph into something new, into the circus. Okay. And I think that Sunday, March 19th, that morning, this is the moment. It's like, okay, this is what we need to be doing. This may feel heavy, but at least we know this is where our work is right now. You have a sextile to Venus. Oh, which means just before that, Venus will sextile Saturn already. That's going to be really nice. It's Saturday, March 18th. Oh, well, good. So yeah, it could even come before that, but yeah, I don't think this is going to feel as heavy as most other moon Saturn transits over the last 6 years. It will be a little lighter, but it still work, is what I'm trying to tell you. Mercury moves into Aries, and Mercury has direction now. Mercury in Aries operates way better than Mercury in Pisces. Mercury in Aries knows what it wants. So this is Sunday, March 19th. Making sure I'm not missing anything. Moon hits Saturn, and then you know what? Then we're well into the new moon territory. New moon is March 21st exactly, and it's in Aries. And I'm just giving you a little preview. It's at 0 degrees of Aries on Tuesday, March 21st. So we get one last square of the moon to Mars right before that. One last hit of this Mars square Neptune and moon. That may be, I said it was last time before, but this may be the moment where it's like, okay, that story's over, on to new things, new moon in Aries. And then I'll be back to talk about that. So probably going to do a separate Saturn and Pisces video. After this new moon, we get some really exciting things going on. Venus gets towards Uranus, Mars it will move into Cancer and trine Saturn, which will be also very nice, where we will get things accomplished, I do believe. Uh, we'll also get a Mars square Jupiter, which will just present the newest set of whatever we're dealing with, but it'll be very different. And that's the thing I want you guys to take away from this, okay? Uh, I want you to take away the fact that the work never stops. The anxiety probably never stops. You know, the worries never stop. The responsibilities never stop, but the flavor of them varies greatly. And that is what is changing is the flavor of the obstacles, the flavor of the problems. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to always have them, I would like for those things to change every now and then. Like, yeah, give me some new problems to work on. Give me some new weight. That's fine. Let's just figure out this other area because I'm done fooling with this. I look forward to seeing what you are done fooling with. Let me know how things have been for you, and how things go. I have to know in the comments. That always helps me. Um, Personal experience is the best astrological guide. So something for you to note, and also go back and look at 93, 94, 95, 96. And also go look back 6 months ago when the new moon in Virgo was square Mars. That was in August, late August. Look at Halloween when Mars went retrograde, at 25 degrees of Gemini, because March 15th, 16th, it's going to hit that degree again. And it was a lot of the first week of November. I can't remember exactly how many days, but it sat there. So the patterns, get a hold of the patterns. Go find out your rising sign and then come back to this channel and watch your rising sign video. Like, share, subscribe if you like it. I didn't put on mascara, so we'll see how it goes. If I get more likes, I ain't wearing mascara ever again. All right, y'all. I'll catch you on the flip side. See you for the new moon in Aries, March 21st.